Hello everyone, good to have you with us again. I'm Jen, sitting here with a cup of tea that's somehow already gone cold.
And I'm Casey. My drink's fine, mainly because I forgot to bring one again.
Right, the two of us are ready. The tea situation is questionable, but we're here. And today we've stumbled on something surprisingly entertaining. It's one of those tiny phrases you'd swear is harmless until it creates a weird little moment in your day.
And you don't even realise you've done anything wrong. You're just existing, which is exactly what happened to me in the supermarket the other day.
Here we go. I've been waiting for this.
I was in the canned food aisle, right? Just looking for chickpeas, minding my own business. Then this woman comes up, super polite, and asks, "Excuse me, do you know where the passata is?" And without even thinking, I just went, "I don't know."
Of course you did.
But the way she looked at me, it wasn't angry. It was more like I'd quietly slammed a door in her face.
Yes, that tiny micro-flinch people do when they think, right, not helpful, I'll just go then.
Exactly. She thanked me, smiled, then walked away like she'd disturbed a wild animal.
A very cute wild animal, to be fair. But yes, I get it. Because when someone asks, do you know where they're not just asking for information, they're inviting you into a tiny moment of teamwork. And when you answer with a really firm, I don't know, that moment closes so fast the other person almost doesn't know what happened.
So I didn't say the wrong thing, but I said it wrong?
That's one way to put it. The phrase itself is fine. The delivery, not always. A flat, I don't know, can sound like you're stepping back instead of stepping in.
Which is wild, because in my head I was just thinking, sorry, I genuinely don't know.
Exactly. You meant no harm at all. But for the person listening, especially here, it can land colder than you intended.
So that's why she looked like I'd emotionally rejected her.
Yes, and that's why this topic is fun. I don't know, feels incredibly safe if you grew up saying the Chinese version of it, but in English it quietly shifts the mood. So today we're taking this tiny phrase apart just to see why it creates these odd moments.
And maybe save a few strangers in future supermarkets from being shot down by us.
Quite right. So, shall we dive in?
So before we go any deeper, there's something I've noticed over the years whenever I talk to learners from Chinese-speaking backgrounds. I don't know pops up constantly, and not just in situations where you genuinely don't know something.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I feel like I've said 我不知道耶 my entire life. It just comes out like a reflex.
Exactly. But what's interesting is that in Chinese, 我不知道 covers so many different feelings. You could be unsure, tired, shy, indecisive, or just not in the mood to choose.
Oh, definitely. Like, if a friend asks, do you want to go on a trip next month? And I say, 我不知道耶 I'm not saying I have zero information. I'm basically saying, give me a moment. I haven't wrapped my head around it yet.
Right, and that's the part English doesn't pick up naturally. In English, I don't know doesn't mean I need time. It means, no idea, sorry, that's all from me.
Yeah, that sounds way colder than I intended.
So I'm curious, when you say 我不知道, what's usually going on in your head? Are you genuinely blank, or is it something softer?
Most of the time it means I haven't thought about it yet. Sometimes it's I don't want to make the decision. And occasionally it's I'm trying to avoid hurting your feelings, so I don't want to answer too directly.
That makes so much sense, and all of that is perfectly natural in Chinese. But in English, those versions all need slightly different phrasing.
Like what?
Well, if you just need time, something like, I haven't really thought about it yet, fits better. If you don't want to decide, I'm still thinking, or I'm not sure yet, feels much closer. And if you're trying to soften a response, you might say, it's a tricky one. What do you think?
That's so interesting, because in Chinese we just stack all of those under the umbrella of 我不知道耶.
Exactly. And that's why I don't want people to think they're doing something wrong. It's just that you're carrying over a habit that works brilliantly in Chinese but needs a little unpacking in English.
Right, because when my friend says, 要不要吃火锅? And I say, 我不知道耶, I'm really saying, 我都可以啦, 你决定.
Exactly. But in English, if you say I don't know to that, it sounds like you genuinely have no idea what hot pot is.
Oh my god, I didn't realize how silly that sounds until now.
Yeah, so a lot of the time, instead of I don't know, you actually mean I'm easy, or either's fine, or even you choose.
Which, now that you say it, feels way warmer than what I usually say.
Exactly. And that warmth is the part English doesn't guess for you. You have to say it. Otherwise, people might think you're stepping out of the moment, when really you're just being polite or undecided.
So basically, I've been saying I don't know on behalf of like 5 different emotions.
At least 5, probably 10, maybe more on a tired day.
Yeah, that checks out.
And that's why this little phrase is worth exploring. Not to stop using it, but to see what you're actually trying to say underneath.
Which already feels kind of liberating, to be honest.
Good, because in the next part, we're going to look at what happens when that tiny mismatch slips into real-life situations.
The funny thing is, the more we talk about this, the more I realise half the time I say I don't know, I'm not actually clueless. I just don't want to jump in too quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly the space I wanted us to explore, because most people aren't confused at all. They're just being careful. Maybe you don't want to sound too certain. Maybe you're avoiding committing to something you're not ready for.
Or maybe I don't want to be wrong in front of people. I hate giving a straight answer and then going, oh, actually, maybe not.
I get that. And because of this, English has loads of expressions that sit comfortably between knowing and not knowing.
Like what though? Because I always feel like if I don't know the full answer, I should say I don't know. That feels honest.
Honesty's great, but honesty has textures, you know? For instance, imagine a colleague asking, do you think this plan could work? You've got a thought, but you're still processing. So instead of shutting the moment down with, I don't know, you could say something like, I'm not entirely sure, which signals you're thinking, not backing away.
Yeah, that does feel lighter.
Or you could say, it's hard to say, especially when you genuinely need a bit more clarity. It keeps the conversation open without forcing you into a yes or no.
All right, let me try one. It's hard to say. The meeting might run long, but it depends on the team.
That sounded pretty natural, actually. Maybe just smooth the pause a bit, unless you're trying to create suspense.
The pause betrayed me again.
Happens to all of us. And honestly, pauses can be helpful. They show you're thinking, and that's why people often prefer these softer phrases. It shows you're present, not bailing out.
So, I don't know sometimes sounds like I've stepped out of the moment, even though I didn't mean to.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's not rude, it just closes the door, and quite often you want to leave that door half open.
So, let me get this right. I don't know is the door closing. I'm not entirely sure is me peeking out from behind the door.
Pretty much, yes. And it's hard to say is you standing in the doorway going, maybe, let's see what happens.
That describes my personality a bit too accurately.
Same here, honestly. And that's why these expressions exist. They let you stay part of the conversation while keeping things flexible.
And it feels so much more like how real conversations actually work.
Exactly. And in the next part, we're going to look at what happens when these flexible answers show up in real-life situations. So we've talked about the feelings behind I don't know, but I think it's time we actually show what happens in real life.
Oh no.
Yes, we're doing 3 mini scenes: friends, work, and relationships.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
All right, Casey, imagine I'm your friend. Hey, we're thinking of getting dinner tonight. Hot pot, what do you think?
I don't know.
In my head, I'm immediately going, cool,
cool, you don't want to come. That's fine. I'll ask someone else then.
But that's not what I meant.
Exactly. But that's how it comes across. It sounds like stepping back, not staying in the moment.
So, if I'd said, I'm leaning towards hot pot, but I'm open,
That completely changes the vibe. Suddenly, I know you're with me and just flexible. All right, next scenario. I'm your manager now. Casey, do you think this draft is okay to send to the client?
I don't know.
Inside my head, I'm thinking, brilliant, you're not taking responsibility. Fantastic. I'll just redo it myself then.
That escalated very quickly.
Yeah, because I don't know in a workplace often sounds like opting out.
So, what do I say instead?
Something like, I haven't fully gone through it, but from what I've seen, it's looking okay. That tells me you're engaged, just not done.
Let me try. I haven't fully gone through it, but from what I've seen, it looks all right so far.
Much better. And you don't sound afraid anymore. Okay, final scene. Probably the one listeners are secretly waiting for. Hey, where do you see us going?
I don't know.
Inside, I'm thinking, wow, amazing. You don't see a future. Cool. I'll just cry quietly later.
Why does your inner voice sound so dramatic?
Because in relationships, I don't know hits harder than anywhere else.
So, what should I say instead?
Something soft, something with warmth, like I'm still figuring things out, but I like where we are.
Oh, that's actually very sweet.
Yeah, because it's honest without shutting the door.
So the problem isn't, I don't know, it's that it closes the moment too fast.
Exactly, and all three scenes show that. One tiny phrase can change the entire atmosphere.
And now that we've lived through the chaos,
What's next?
Next, we look at how to replace I don't know without sounding fake or overly polished.
So, after all those disasters we just acted out, I think it's time we talk about what people can actually say instead. Because most of the time, it's not that you know nothing, it's more that you're halfway there.
Yeah, somewhere between I know nothing and I know everything.
Exactly. And that in-between space is where real-life conversations usually happen. So the idea isn't to replace I don't know, but to give the other person a bit more to work with.
because I don't know is like handing someone an empty box. There's nowhere for the conversation to go.
Exactly. But if you give even a tiny clue, like your current thoughts or what you need before you decide, suddenly the conversation has direction.
All right, teach me the ways. What does tiny clue sound like?
Well, one option is buying yourself a bit of time. Something like, let me think for a second. It shows you're still present.
Let me try that. Let me think for a second. I haven't really looked into it yet.
That's actually really natural. And suddenly I know you're thinking, not shutting the thing down.
Okay, I like that one. What about giving a half answer?
Then you can say something like, from what I've seen, or based on what I know so far. It shows you're sharing what you do know without pretending you know everything.
Let me try that one too. Based on what I know so far, it seems doable, but I'd need to double check.
Perfect. And it sounds like a grown-up answer too.
Wow, thanks. What else?
Another way is turning it into a conversation. What's your take on it? Or I'd love to hear your thoughts first.
That one sounds very cooperative.
Exactly. And sometimes that's all you need. You're not avoiding the question, you're inviting the other person in.
All right, let me blend everything. I'm not sure yet, but from what I've seen, it looks promising. What do you think?
That's honestly really good. You gave your status, what you know, and invited me in.
So basically, small add-ons, big difference.
Exactly, and that's the whole idea. You're not giving a perfect answer, you're giving something, and something is always easier to work with than nothing.
I feel like this is something people can use immediately.
That's the goal, and in the next part, we're going to see how all of this fits together in a real conversation.
You know, after going through all those stories and little disasters, I feel like we should make one thing very clear. We're not cancelling I don't know.
Yeah, because I still need it. I'm not ready to retire that phrase.
Exactly. And honestly, it's a good phrase. It's just that now you probably have a better sense of when it helps and when it shuts the moment down a bit too fast.
Like in an exam, saying I don't know is perfectly fine.
Right, but on a date,
Yeah, maybe don't use it when someone asks, do you see a future with me?
And in a meeting, you don't have to know everything, but giving nothing rarely works. Even something tiny like, I'm still looking into it, keeps things open.
I think the biggest thing I'm taking away today is I didn't realise how many times I used I don't know just to avoid choosing.
And now you've got options. Softer ones, warmer ones, and the let's figure it out together ones.
I think the one I'll start using is I'm still thinking about it. It feels exactly like my Chinese 我还没想好啦.
That's a good one. And honestly, if everyone chooses just one phrase from today and actually uses it in daily life, that already changes it a lot.
You know, after chatting through all of this, I kind of feel lighter. Like, I don't have to change who I am. I just have a few bare tools now.
Exactly, and that's really the whole point today. You don't have to ban anything or force yourself into perfect English. It's more like now you've got a few extra ways to say what you already mean.
And honestly, if you've been listening all the way, maybe while you're cooking, commuting, folding laundry, you've basically lived this whole episode with us.
We really appreciate that. And if today opened up even a tiny new angle for you, feel free to give this episode a like or share it with someone who might enjoy this kind of slow, gentle language chat.
And of course, if you want to hang out with us again, hit that subscribe button and turn on the little bell so you won't miss the next episode.
We'll be back next weekend with another tiny English thing to pick apart together.
See you next weekend.